Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Most High God, and His only begotten Son. He is, or He exists, the Savior. He delivers, He saves. Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, Spirit Holy. This is your brother Aram Yahweh with a lesson. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who feeling tight may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And yeah, this is thing is called depleted uranium in Kuwait or Iraq. Slovakia. So it says the U.S. has been similarly opaque about where and how much depleted uranium has been used. In 2003 Kuwait invasion. So let's see what that opaque means. Definition of opaque. Okay, so that word opaque says not to be seen through. So something you can't really see through it, right? Not transparent. The windows was giving you understanding, right? The windows were opaque with steam. So it's basically letting you know that Esau's smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors, nothing but lies. Smoke and mirrors. Don't want to take responsibility, right? But the thing about this is the Lord set up the men of the Lord to see through it. We see through your lies. We see through the rhetoric. You understand? Right? Yeah, so let's get back right here. Let's the bulletin.org. Where was I at? The depleted uranium was used during the 2003 Iraq invasions, but according to the UNEP, right, which is supposed to be the United Nations environmental program, which that whole word program is exactly what it is. It's the program to make you think that they're doing what they're supposed to do. But the UN has been brought up on charges of rape, molestation, all these different things. You know, robbery, all sorts of things themselves. So the UN is not a good source. But this is that Satan turning himself into an angel of light through the UN, through the Red Cross, because they've been accused of all these different things, right? Figures from various speculative studies estimate that the U.S.-led coalition distribute anywhere from 100. So this is how you know it's coming with a lie, because 170 to 1,700 it's huge. That's not a small margin. That's a big gap. So meaning basically you don't know. The number's most likely bigger, a lot greater. You know what I mean? what is it? Metric tons of toxic metals. And look at this. Look at this. Look at Kuwait. Look at the so-called middle. Look what 20, 30 years or 40 years or whatever, however long they've been there. 20 some odd years. Look what it's done. Look what it's done to this place, man. And you haven't seen anything yet. Watch. I'm going to show you some more. Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry. So you see that was Kuwait, which is a nation. And they put all sorts of metric tons of like, basically it's like nuclear metals and all sorts of toxic chemicals within that land. So of course you'd be mad. And it's not just that nation. All the nations are angry with the whore. And thy wrath is come. So the Most High judgment is about on its way. And the time of the dead that they should be judged. So, there's a lot of people that died. And the main people the Lord care about dying is the Israelites, starting with the elect. The Lord only really gives a dang about the elect, the nation of Israel. Because the elect does not come from any other nation. It only comes from the nation of Israel. Right? So it says, that should be judged, and that thus should it give reward, right? Their punishment or reward, whether if you did good or you did evil, you get a reward for that. Unto thy servants, right? And so if they're the Lord's servants, that means these people did good, right? Because the Lord deals with balance. The ones that are wicked get death, destruction, weeping, gnashing of teeth, famine, pestilence, overall the ICBM missiles, right? So it says servants, thy servants, right, which is the Most High, the prophets, and to the saints, which are Israelites. The only way you could be a saint is to be an Israelite. And them that fear thy name, and the only way to really actually fear the Lord's name is to be an Israelite. And then you have to be the elect of Israel at that. Small and great. Should it's destroy, right? And the Lord's going to give power to those Israelites to destroy them which destroyed the earth, right? Starting with the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, up to the top elite of England and America, right? They're all have to be destroyed because they have destroyed the earth, man, right?
Dar, I wanted to ask you about the issue of depleted uranium. In 2004, a special investigation by Democracy Now! Co-host Juan Gonzalez of the New York Daily News found 4 of 9 soldiers of the 442nd Military Police Company of the New York Army National Guard returning from Iraq tested positive for depleted uranium contamination. They were the first confirmed cases of inhaled depleted uranium exposure from the Iraq conflict. One of the people affected was Sergeant Augustin Matos, who was deployed in Iraq with the 442nd Military Police. Speaking on Democracy Now!, he described his health problems.
I myself, while I was out there, experienced a fever one night, unexplained. I was fine during the day, and then it just hit me. It just totally knocked me out. I was in bed. I couldn't get out. I can't remember exactly what the fevers were, but also I was urinating blood while I was out there. It wasn't good. It was just a place not to be when you were sick like that.
That was
on the city of 2004, as well as other toxic munitions like white phosphorus, among other things. And so what this has generated is from 2004 up to this day, we are seeing a rate of congenital malformations in the city of Fallujah that is surpassed even that in the aftermath of, in the wake of the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki that nuclear bombs were dropped on at the end of World War II. So Dr. Samir Alani.
The nations were angry. So Japan, even though they're supposed to be an ally right now, these nations are really angry.
Actually visited with doctors in Japan, comparing statistics, and found that the amount of congenital malformations in Fallujah is 14 times greater than the same rate measured in the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan in the aftermath of the nuclear bombings. These types of birth defects, she said, there are types of congenital malformations that she said they don't even have medical terms for, that some of the things they're seeing they've never seen before. They're not in any of the books or any of the scientific literature that they have access to. She said it's common now in Fallujah for newborns to come out with massive multiple systemic defects, immune problems, massive central nervous system problems, massive heart problems, skeletal disorders, babies being born with two heads, babies being born with half of their internal organs outside of their bodies.
من سبب الضرب علينا الصواريخ ذبوها خلوها يجون يزوروني يشوفون اثر بينا الصواريخ لو ما اثرت هم كلش تلفونات تلعب جهالنا تمرضت بنات شابه هسه يعني تجي امراضها غريبه اعوذ بالله من عندها يعني شنو ذنب نحن شنو ذنب اطفالنا ونجي من محافظه لمحافظه.
We have noticed an increased incidence of childhood cancer, mainly leukemia, especially after the aggression on Iraq in 1991. Most cases came from all over the country, but most of cases came from the southern cities, mainly from Basra, Nasriya, and Simawa.
Still, our hospitals are receiving so many cases of leukemias and increasingly high incidences of that. It is now.
Yeah, so this is Daniel chapter 8, verse 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, right? Because the Lord set you up, and you stepped basically out of pocket, because your power has gotten to your brain, right? Because really the Most High has allowed you to rule, and he shall destroy wonderfully. See, and the Lord did that. He allowed for you to destroy wonderfully, and so and shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty, right, to all these different nations, their military, and, right, going into the Israelites, and the holy people, right, which are the Israelites, and through his policies, right, their laws, these different things, using the so-called UN to just ignore all this stuff. Because why haven't they sued America? Man, did you see that picture? Did you see those children? But yet, America can put Saddam Hussein up on war crimes. They want to so-called arrest Putin for war crimes. You know? But who arrests you? Who arrests you for the war crimes you've done? Right? And you're opaque about it. You think no one could see through it. You're just smoke and mirrors about the whole thing. Lies and smoke and mirrors. Right? Thinking no one can see through. But the whole world, they're angry, man. What do you think? Man, they live with it. The only ones who don't see it is the Israelites, man. But the whole point is, we don't need all of Israel to be saved. We need the elect. So the elect see it. Right? And through his policies, also, he shall cause craft to prosper. You're just full of witchcraft, man. Lies and witchcraft. In his hand, and he shall magnify. See, you're magnifying yourself as if you're God. Putting cameras everywhere. Now you want to see hip everybody. You want to make 15-minute cities. You know? Magnify himself in his heart, in your mind. And the mind is a terrible thing to waste, man. To be, you know. But the Lord said his thoughts are not your thoughts. And when he was speaking, he was just speaking to the Israelites. Let alone a mere heathen who's the basis of men. And not only are you the base of the men because you're stupid and you're childish and you're shoddish, you're the base of the men because what? You're the last kingdom. You're the base of all the kingdoms. Go back to the dream that Daniel interpreted for, was it Nebuchadnezzar? He interpreted this dream for him. And you in that dream were the base. You're the mark. This proves that you're simple and stupid. Clay and iron don't mix. Right? Which is basically what they put these sky rides, their man-made mountains together with. It's basically clay and iron. Which proves that you have to be those people. You know? Hey, the Lord is beautiful, man. So it says, Salakia. Before I get too far. Yeah, in your mind, your lob, which is your mind, your heart being lob, which lob in the Hebrew is mind, and by peace, right? That's what you're saying. The UN said, oh yeah, we're this UN, and we care about the environment, but the fucking thing is fucking depleted, man. It's fucking done. You're using depleted uranium to make this place depleted, right? And it says, you know, and basically, that's what you're saying. By peace shall destroy many, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes. So you're going to get ready to fight against Yahweh Shai, man. You're getting ready to fight against Yahweh Shai, man. The ruler of all rulers, that's what that means. Because the rest of you are princes. You're just rulers. Regular little rulers that the Lord set up. Right? That's why the Lord, even out of his own mouth, told the wicked scribes and Pharisees, doesn't the scripture say that ye are gods? But what else do it say after that? But you shall die like the princes, right? These other rulers who's just mere men. Because it wasn't made for the sons of God to die. Right? So it says, yeah, by peace you shall destroy many, and shall stand up against the princes of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Man, the Lord is going to do you something beautiful, man. And one of the other scriptures says, he says he's not going to lift up sword nor weapon. Right? Another scripture says there was not sword or weapon in hand, but only a blast only a blast come from his mouth in 2nd Esdras, right? The true great millstone is finna destroy you, right? Yeah, this is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe, which means destruction, man. Punishment, judgment, weeping and gnashing of teeth to them that devise iniquity, right? You're just creating these different laws, these different statutes. You're creating your UN to pretend that this is a so-called a neutral peace thing that you use to say, well, this is the United Nations, and the United Nations is a thing that's going to so-called govern all nations. But then they're not really governing all nations. Then you have a UN environment, right? But then it's not really caring about the environment as long as it pushes the agenda of the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, right along with this so-called American military, which is really run by them all the way going back to Britain, right? But America's the face of this thing, right? That's why everybody's going to be mad with the whore, because the whore is the one that seemeth to be in control, but the America's not in control at all. Just ask Abraham Finkelstein. America's not in control. They said it's the cow and it's running out of milk, and they're about to be done with it. They don't care. They don't care what happens to America at this point, right? So America's not running a thing, right? But it's the face of all this thing. So, and work iniquity upon their beds, right? And while they're in their rulership, while they're ruling things, right? When the morning is light, right? Going into the Illuminati, right? The enlightened ones, Illuminati, the illuminated ones, right? Their rulership, right? This is the time of their rulership, right? Right? Because that's what Yahweh Shai is going to be, right? Because it tells you about in Revelation how the your day star, the day star, goes into being what? The illuminated one, the Illuminati, or if you don't understand English or whatever things, it goes into being Satan. Satan or Lucifer, Salakia, not Satan, but Lucifer. Lucifer being light bearer, right? And Lucifer, Salakia, didn't mean to mess up on that, but Lucifer just means light bearer. And that's what Yahweh Shai is going to be. He's going to be a new ruling light bearer, taking down this current Lucifer. Right? Just meaning light bearer, don't mean nothing evil. Like, well, they are evil because they're Satan. Satan being adversary. They're the adversary to the Israelites, but then they're adversary to the planet. That's why the Lord said He's going to destroy them. They will destroy the earth, who work all these crafts, making all these different laws, but it's only to suit them, right? Who practice, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, because they're ruling. This is their time to rule. It's the Edomite kingdom. Self-proclaimed so-called white man, Rothschild, Bilderbergs, DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers. It's their time. Right? And they covet fields. What were they doing? Taking the uranium out of the Middle East, then making military weapons, and I get they were using it on them. Right? And taking them by violence. Hey man, that's definitely violence when you're shooting depleted uranium and it's leaving the place desolate. It's violent war. And now children are born like a cyclops, 2-3 heads, 2-3 arms, But no one's bringing America up on war crimes. But that's okay, because guess the prince of princes is finna bring them up on war crimes, right? So it says yeah, and they take them by violence in the houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his heritage, even a man. I mean, they oppress a man in his house. Slakia, I'm getting excited. Slakia, I'm stepping before myself. Oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, right? And that's what they've been doing. They've been setting up different laws, setting up different things, fighting. And then they know the woman's the weaker vessel, so they over there in the Middle East trying to get them women to take off their veils and say they don't have to wear veils. They can wear this and they can do that. Trying to make men be homosexuals, right? Trying to make things upside down, right? So.
On March 20th, Annabel Goldie, the British Minister of State for Defense, declared that as part of an aid package to support Ukraine's ongoing war effort against Russia, her country would provide depleted uranium munitions. In January, Britain committed to providing 14 Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine, and the majority of the training for Ukrainian personnel has already been completed. When Britain pledged to send 14 Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine, it became the first country to offer Western-designed tanks to Kyiv. Later, under significant pressure from the United States and Poland, Germany also granted permission to supply Leopard 2 tanks, which are widely used across Europe, to Ukraine. Interestingly, Britain is now the first country to commit to supplying this type of shells. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how Russia is so irked by Britain's decision to supply depleted uranium munitions to Ukraine. Let's get into the details. Depleted uranium is a byproduct of the process of enriching natural uranium to create nuclear fuel. It's considered less radioactive than naturally occurring uranium since it contains a lower amount of the fissionable material U-235. With a density that is 1.7 times greater than that of lead, uranium is exceptionally dense metal. This characteristic makes it ideal for applications where having a large mass in a confined space is beneficial. During the 1970s, the U.S. Army started producing armor-piercing rounds utilizing depleted uranium. It's also added depleted uranium to the munitions fired by the Air Force's A-10 close air support attack plane, known as the Tank Killer. Depleted uranium shells were used in both Gulf Wars and in Serbia and Kosovo. Over time, depleted uranium has also been incorporated into composite tank armor to enhance its strength. Since it's produced using low-level radioactive waste left over from the manufacture of nuclear fuel or nuclear warheads, it's affordable to produce in large quantities.
With ammunition. Now, in Moscow, President Putin has warned that if the UK goes ahead with a plan to supply Ukraine with ammunition which contains depleted uranium, Russia will be forced to respond. Now, the threat of unspecified retaliation was made on the second day of talks with President Xi of China. The two leaders have been discussing what's been described as a peace plan for Ukraine, which has been put forward by Beijing. Our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, has the latest.
Take two world leaders, a dash of Kremlin choreography, and you get this. The symbolism was clear. On the world stage, Xi and Putin, China and Russia are coming together to forge what they claim is a strong partnership. The talk at the table was about expanding cooperation. But equal partners, they are not. Russia, under pressure over its war in Ukraine, is increasingly dependent on China. And Vladimir Putin is increasingly critical of the West. Later, he slammed the UK for deciding to provide ammunition to Ukraine that contains depleted uranium.
I would like to note that if this happens, then Russia will be forced to take action accordingly. I'm talking about the fact that the West is already starting to use weapons with a nuclear component.
Tonight, this warning from Moscow has sparked a reaction from London. The UK Ministry of Defence has pointed out that depleted uranium has nothing to do with nuclear weapons or capabilities. It says it's a standard component the British Army's been using for decades, and that Russia is deliberately trying to disinform. The Chinese peace initiative for Ukraine made little headway. President Putin blamed Kiev and the West, but this is a war he started, and he shows no sign he's ready to pull out his troops. Might Beijing be ready to supply Russia with weapons? That key question was left unanswered. In any case, Xi's visit...
Over here, we can't see any U.S. flags on your uniforms.
Yeah, hide all the U.S. flags. All the United States people, just go to the cafeteria. We just got to...
For murder class.
This is a British propaganda film that we can't have any Americans in it. Then Putin responded, of course, to all of this, telling us that he knew what the British were up to, and he told us exactly what he planned to do. He wasn't bluffing. Watch.
Что Великобритания устами заместителя главы Министерства обороны этой страны объявила не только о поставках танков на Украину, но и снарядов с объединенным ураном. Похоже, что Запад действительно решил воевать с Россией до последнего украинца уже не на словах, а на деле. Но хотел бы в этой связи отметить, что если все это будет происходить, то соответствующим образом Россия вынуждена будет реагировать, имея в виду, что коллективный Запад начинает применять уже оружие с ядерным компонентом.
Yeah, so he was going to take action on those and blow them up. He was going to blow them up. He wasn't bluffing about that. And he also reiterated those remarks in another speech. Well, this weekend, we learned that the UK government have, in fact, just supplied NATO forces in Ukraine with long-range missiles. They're sending a lot of these long-range missiles that can travel up to 155 kilometers to target inside of mainland Russia. So all of these things happening at the same time. Long-range weapons, depleted uranium, and talk of a summer offensive against Putin. So what did Russia do overnight to those depleted uranium stockpiles in a giant warehouse with all of these other NATO munitions? This is what Russia just did. Watch. Yeah, that's the massive, massive explosion of depleted uranium shells, among other weapons that NATO keeps sending. These, it's amazing, that these things wind up in these massive warehouses. Russia knows exactly where they are, and it launches Iskander missiles and destroys all of them. What is the purpose of billions of dollars being sent for this stuff? Here's another one. Here's another warehouse, another ammunition depot that was also blown up this morning. Yep, there it is. And hit multiple targets, no civilian areas. This was specifically ammunition depots, according to the reports. And they're saying, this is the thing. NATO created this mess. More NATO ammunition depots these are the only two that we're showing you, but there was plenty more. Tens of...
Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Behold, what means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I will stir up the Medes, right? Which is, another way of talking about Gog and Magog, that land that Russia's in, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Because, as you can see, Putin is not effing around, man. He's not that guy, man. He's very serious. He said what he said he was going to do, and he did it. He's executing those things. Their bowels also shall dash the young men into pieces. See, he got, basically that's another way of saying he got nuts, man. He Putin about that business, man. And he's going to dash your young men to pieces, man. And you're lucky this time it was actual bases. They wasn't hitting children, unlike how you do. They didn't hit schools, unlike you do. You know? But the time is coming. Right? Thus saith the Lord, right? We're reading it. Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible. You know what I'm saying? The young men to be... Well, and also shall dash the young men into pieces. That the Lord is going to allow Gog and Magog, which is Russia, to dash your young men into pieces. And they shall have no pity of the fruit of the womb, because he's been telling you, peace, man, you don't want a nuclear war. He keeps saying that. Look, you don't want a nuclear war. Look, now he's saying this depleted uranium is you're pushing the line on nukes. Like, that's technically basically nuclear weapon you're doing, right? But obscure, or you know what I mean, being how did it go? Can't remember. Opaque, Salakia. Being opaque, you're trying to act like nobody can't see through your bullshit. You're just about smoke and mirrors and think nobody can see through the shit. You know what I mean? But, you know, not only is Putin the devil just like you, the Lord set it up for him to see it, man. So he could be stirred up. Right? So shall have no pity on the fruit of their womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, man. They're not, hey, look, in that day, they're not even going to give a damn about whether children be there or not, man. And Babylon, which is another way of talking about America, the glory of kingdoms, right? Because you've been ruling, or looking like you're ruling over the kingdoms, right? Because you're the face of this. The beauty of the Chaldeans, right? All your witchcraft, all your policies that you set, the lies you said. You set up, what is it called? The UN. You set up Red Cross. You set up all these things that make it look like you're there to help. But you're there to disenfranchise people, man. Right? It says, oh yeah, excellency. Yeah. Because you're on top. America been this golden cup in the Lord's hand, man. It says, and shall be as when power, right? Which, yeah, when the Alahims, through the order of Yahweh, the power, which is the Alahims, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, man, because the Lord sent forth the angels to do that. Right? It shall never be inhabited, right? You can go to where Sodom and Gomorrah at to this very day. Scientists, all these so-called scholars and all this other stuff, you know what I mean? You don't got to believe us. You believe Esau. A lot of you Jakes, you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you believe Jake. I mean, you don't believe the Israelites. You believe these Edomites, and you don't believe the people who tell you that you come from Jacob, Salakia. You know what I mean? But and it shall neither be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, right? Because when Putin starts shooting off these nukes, man, that's it, man. That's it. Biden saying this is going to set off World War III. Well, you're not ready for World War III, man. You're not freaking ready. You're not fucking ready for World War III, man. From generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherd make their flock there, right? And it's just giving you a scenario because, you know, Arabians to this day are known for being in the desert, right? Being a nomad, which really goes back to Israel, really. Because we were always nomadic, right? When you go back to our father Abraham was nomadic. When we went to the wilderness for 40 years, we were nomadic, a nomadic people. But it's okay. Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 7. Babylon, which is another basically spiritual way of speaking about America, been a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Because even Sodom, when you go to Revelation, they tell you the place where they were lie dead in the streets. The city of Egypt, right? That's another phrase of America spiritually. And Sodom, just like other scripture was saying about Sodom, but what goes on in America? Sodomy, right? Homosexuality. They allow it. This is how they try to rule, by their craft, their different things, right? And so, you know, America, Britain, the whole European nations were on top at one time. You know, starting with Spain. Spain was on top. Then, of course, the French, the Spain, and England came over to the Americas, and so-called, they were on top at that time. But, well, Portugal, Portugal too, they fell. Then England was still pretty much still in charge, but then England basically so-called, like in a sense, rendered their power, which really wasn't, because England rules over America. This was all of, you know, like I said, the smoke and mirrors. But now they done with America. I'm saying, just ask Abraham Finkelstein, or Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein, should we say, right? Because he's a rabbi. Abraham Finkelstein. It says but it says Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, Yahweh, right? All caps, Yahweh hand, and that made all the earth, right? The Lord made the earth through the Elohims, through his son, Yahweh Shai, and the angels, created the earth. Drunken, the nations have drunken. The nations have drunken her wine, right? Hey, that those laws, those lies, you know, making all these different laws and what is it called? Policies. That's what it's like here. Policies. So it says, wherefore the nations are mad. Hey, see, the nations are mad at you. Because you've been destroying and depleting all these nations, and you're willing, you're finna try to do it to another nation. But Putin is saying, not over here, boy. Flew over there and boom, blew up all your little shit. Right? He's not playing around, man. He's doing what he say he's gonna do, but he's doing what the Lord say he's gonna do. At the end of the day, man. Babylon, which is America, is suddenly falling. That's what's gonna happen real soon. It's gonna suddenly happen because everybody's propping this thing up, man. You've been propping this thing up with lies, and ultimately your well, in fact, it's gonna go into it. Fallen and destroyed. How for her take bomb for her? What is bomb for? Bomb is like a medication. It's a healing. You know, herbs and you know, a remedy. You know, ancient remedy with herbs and all these different things. You know, a bomb. you know, trying to heal it for her pain, right? You know, using the stimulus and basically trying to stay in war because most of America's money has came from war. You're not really making any things that come out of factories anymore. So majority of your money come from you going to war. So you're okay having a 20-year war that you didn't win. Hey, we're making money. We're still good. And then a lot of people pump themselves up about your so-called military, but the Lord said you're gonna lose. He just said it. You're gonna fall. It's gonna suddenly fall. If so be, she may be healed, right? They're like, hey man, let's see if she could be healed. We need this whore. She make us money, and that's really for all the nations. Even though they hate this whore, they hate America. America makes them so much money. America allows them to live a cushy life. You know what I mean? You never heard of anybody going up escalators and elevators and, you know, riding Ferraris in the goddamn desert and just leaving them there. Ever before in history. So you got these Shiites or princes, sheiks, Salakia, the sheiks, who got money and they riding Lamborghinis and wrecking them and leaving them in the middle of the goddamn desert and go buy them another Lamborghini. It's nothing to them, right? They've never lived that good before. It says we would have healed Babylon, right, which is America. They would have healed America if they could, but that's what even Abraham. Oh wait, let's mention it the right way. Rabbi Abraham Finkelstein said it was their cash cow, but they know that it's impossible to heal it. So he said, yeah, well, let's come up with the 9/11 thing. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Right? Right? Let's milk it for all it's worth. Because there's no more milk in this place. It says, if we would have healed her, but she is not healed, right? It's not happening. So they just like, we're done with this place. Forsake her and let us go, every one to his own country. And that's one of these prophecies that haven't fully came to fruition, but you see that piece by piece on a daily basis. A lot of people are going back to their home country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky, right? Which is going to the Most High, going into the Most High's eyes, his nostrils. He could see it. He smell it. He's displeased with the sacrifice of Esau, man. It's not a savory. That's a good sacrifice smell. You know what I'm saying? You're making sacrifice with dead carcasses. You know, you ever smell burnt flesh? That don't smell good. But you're trying to burn some dead bodies that's already dead. And I ain't talking about you sacrifice the lamb and you kill it and then you dress it and then you put it on the thing. No, we're talking about this thing has freaking been dead for 5 days. You know what I mean? It's been dead for freaking weeks. And then you're trying to throw it on. Hey, look, Lord, look. See, I'm giving you an offering. You know, mixing that like your daddy. What's his name? Abel. I mean, Cain. It's like not Abel, but Cain. Like your daddy Cain. Cain and Abel. And your daddy Cain came out there with some fucking salad, goddamn fruit salad, trying to make an offering to the Lord. But yeah, call all you Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Bashem Rakal Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, rule well. Citation to the Akim of 4 winds, preaching the truth, sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Kwam Yashala.